Hello once again, Niner Faithful, and welcome back to another episode of 49ers Playbook on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game. Also, welcome to any Eagles fans that might be joining us. I see you there in the comments, Steve Mason. It's here, the Conference Championship. Some years you feel like the NFL got it wrong this time of year, that we're not seeing the two best teams in the conference. This year, they absolutely got it right. When you look at the two teams, they're built similarly. They both love to run the ball and do it better than anyone else in the league. They both have fast, aggressive, and talented defenses. This feels like the clash of an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. I dove into a ton of film this week looking at things, so hopefully it comes out in a way that's understandable, but we're going to look at some of the matchups and scheme challenges both teams face going into this Sunday. You're watching Johnny Dell's Football Academy. So when you put on the tape of the Eagles offense, the first thing that jumps out to you is how much conflict they will create with their formations and all the different options they have in any given play. It requires an incredible amount of gap discipline to slow this rushing attack down. So the Eagles love this formation, and I mean love this formation. They're going to come out with two receivers wide to the field side. Have Goddard attached to the formation with a receiver split out on the other side. They create a balanced set here, but with Goddard in a spot where he can run several routes, plus block either edge. From here, they're just going to run a base play where they will block down and pull Kelce around. It's also an RPO or run pass option, as they'll have a double slant to the tight end side. This is a play they can run because Kelce is the best center in the league. What makes this play so tough to defend is that by pulling Kelce, they get good numbers and angles in the run game. And if your Mike overcommits on the run, they have your backside defender in a 2-on-1 with the double slant. I've seen them run this a lot, so stopping this play is paramount. So the next play is same formation, two receivers split out to the field side, attached tight end with a receiver split out on the other side. Now Hurts is going to see the defense with his safety sitting over Goddard's side, so he's going to check to a different play. They detach Goddard, which is moving him away from the line, and are going to run a China concept. You detach the tight end because it changes the rules of coverage for the defense, so now the linebacker will have to carry a vertical route from the number 2, which is Goddard. So this gets A.J. Brown open for a gain. And next, just so you know I'm not making things up here, here's that same RPO again. So here they are again, same formation, and this time it's a zone read, where they come with an inside zone and the QB option. The only way you're going to slow this thing down is your linemen have to eat up double teams. You can't let them force 11 on 11 all game. They will exploit it. You have to make up numbers. The second key is I think the injury to Jalen Hurts changes things. To me, you're okay with him getting the ball a bunch. You could see from the Giants game he wasn't nearly as willing to take on contact. Here he spins away from the hit to protect that shoulder. There's other times he's sliding. If I'm D'Amico Ryans, I'm going to challenge him to have to get some yards while getting tackled and being physical with him every chance you get. Sorry, Philly fans, you'll find no sympathy for that from 49ers fans, as last year in the NFC Championship game, our quarterback had a similar, if not worse, shoulder injury and was held together by duct tape. But they can operate these runs from a number of different formations to force favorable coverages. but they loved balanced sets. Here, they're in a condensed pistol formation. This gives them equal numbers on both sides of the ball. And so they're going to let the defense choose what happens. Hurts is just reading the numbers. You have 4 defenders on one side and 3 on the other. So that's the side they'll work against. This is a split zone RPO they love. They work this from a number of ways, split wide, condensed, but they'll stress the area between the numbers and the hash. From this formation with a stick concept with Brown on a stick route and Goddard on a flat route. At the snap, Hurts is reading the linebacker. You see the stress the defense is under. The defensive end has to respect quarterback run, and that sets him up for a kickout block. And the linebacker has to fill the hole, which will open up between the numbers and hash. So from there, Hurts is reading the corner. Does he attack the stick route or the flat route? And now you have Goddard in space against a corner. Then if you stop the run, you have to contain on Hurts. You can't give up cheap yards. He'll treat quarterback runs not like a panic button, but more like an alert option, where if it's there, he's taking it. So how does San Francisco defend Philadelphia's run game? I had to go all the way back to week 1 to see how they defend an option-heavy team, in that case the Bears. They did a number of things, but one thing I saw them using a heavy dose of is cover 9 sky. So this is a term that if you've watched the channel, I don't really use a lot, and that's mainly to keep things from sounding too complicated. But cover 9 is cover 3 with a weak side safety down in the box. Here, Chicago has a real heavy set with a 4x1, and you can see we have Hufanga down in the box to the weak side. This gives you the valuable element of speed on the edge. So if they run this, you can have your defensive end crash down more aggressively and let your safety sit in that zone where they want to throw it. But also gives you a favorable matchup against a quarterback as a ball carrier. Here, once Chicago motions across, they're going to run a zone read to the strong side. And you'll see Bosa defend quarterback run, Armstead helps eat up the double team, and Fred Warner scrapes over the top. When you have a Nick Bosa, a Fred Warner, and an Eric Armstead, you suddenly match up a lot better against these type of things than the New York Giants did. Then here Hufanga is again down off the weak side. And with the tight end attached, we're going to bring Mosley off the edge. We can do this with Lenore as well. It disrupts the blocking, but watch the pursuit of Warner and Greenlaw. The speed at linebacker changes the way Philadelphia's run game can look. But the biggest thing, once the quarterback is out there, you just can't have a stupid penalty. Hurts is going to slide. You know he will have to be smart. So you have to be just as smart and not get the cheap penalty. But the matchups on the offensive line are gonna be tough. Watch Kelsey here. He is the best center in the NFL, no question. Then you also have Landon Dickerson, who is an absolute monster. It'll be a really tough matchup between their interior offensive line and our guys, and they have got to bring their big boy pads. A lot of people have asked about the Washington game because that was the one loss the Eagles have had with Hurts this season. Well, there's not a lot to show as far as here's how they stopped the Eagles. It was more they made it a meat grinder. They didn't give up many things deep, they didn't overcommit on anything, and they were okay with the Eagles getting 4, 5, 7 yards on plays. They weren't going to let the big one happen, and they tackled well. Here the Eagles have a little Ohio concept, and they make sure not to let any yards after the catch. From there, Philly had their own mistakes, drop balls, off-target throws, and turnovers. That is going to be huge in the game. We've got to force a turnover. On offense, it's going to be about getting our own run game going. What run game Kyle is going to come out with, I'm not 100% sure. Our bread and butter and the basis is the wide zone, but against Dallas in the second half, we ran a lot more inside power man. One thing I do expect is Kyle to test how Philly is going to respond to 21 and 12 personnel, or Debo and 11 personnel, or in other words, 2 back sets or 2 tight end sets, or when Debo is on the field with Christian McCaffrey. Here, the Giants were in 21 personnel with Barkley and Matt Breida, and they have a tight end. The Eagles responded with their base defense of a 3-4, and I like this matchup to throw against. It either forces Reddick or Sweat into coverage, or you're going to get a 6-man coverage, in this case, a form of a fire zone, and they'll get the tight end open on a play we run. Here, you're going to have a hook route over the middle, and then bring the tight end on a post across the face of the safety. The safety is Reed Blankenship, and he's a guy I think they can go after, and it's a matchup I'd love to have with Kittle. Then here on this play, the Eagles are again in base. And they're running our bread and butter, the wide zone. You can see Linval Joseph can get scooped, and if you can scoop him, you can get to the second level. If you're getting this kind of production from the run game, the 49ers are in business, and they can make a ton of things happen off of this. Against Seattle, we were able to get the wide zone working here with Debo. And then we had an explosive to Christian McCaffrey. If we get the wide zone working, we can start hitting some of these play action passes that I think the Eagles are susceptible to. Washington was willing to take a lot of 3 and 4 yard runs, but they did hit a few runs, and here's one with another one of our staples, the wide zone. They get the edge, and you can see the pursuit from Philly's linebackers isn't the best. We have a chance to utilize the speed of McCaffrey and Debo on these runs with the blocking at the point of attack with Kittle and Williams to stress the edge and put pressure on their linebackers. And this opened up some things like this. So the Eagles play a ton of this. It's cover 6, and it's very Fangio-like in how they play it. But they like this against condensed sets. So Washington is going to come with something we run a lot of, the Speedo concept, which is a clearing route paired with a deep over route. And we often pair it with run action, which is what Washington does as well. You can see the clearing route is targeted to draw both quarters defenders, and it opens up McLaurin on the deep over route for a big gain. Now this wasn't always there, and it's why this defense is so tough. So Washington is going to come back to this, and the Eagles are again going to be in cover 6. And this time, Epps is going to read the concept coming, break off, and break up the pass. Against Seattle, we're going to run this same thing, the Speedo concept, and we had this open a bunch in this game. I don't see it being there as much as it was versus Seattle, but if we get it there, we've got to hit it. We did have one play like this against Dallas, and Purdy was just a little bit late, and he ended up not pulling the trigger. If he gets this look versus Philadelphia, you've got to hit it when you have it. In the end, I feel like this is a game that those first 10 plays Kyle Shanahan runs and the information he'll gather from that will be some of the most important 10 plays we've had all year. The video isn't as long as some of my other breakdowns because there's just so much that would be repeat. The Eagles are a tough team, and they don't have many weaknesses, and so are the 49ers. There's a lot of things both teams do well, and so this game is going to come down to who executes better, who takes care of the ball, who gets maybe a 4th down conversion, and who might just be more physical. In the Washington game, one play that stood out was this one. Washington just imposed their will at one point. The 49ers have been a physically imposing team all year. It shows in that every single team they played this year did not have a win the following week after playing the 49ers. That's never happened in NFL history. This team is built to be a physical bully, and that might just be the edge come Sunday. I don't see a huge talent gap or scheme advantage that neither team can counter. In the end, this is going to be a huge battle, and one I believe the 49ers can come out of with a win. So with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line, let's all sit back and cheer our team on. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Niners.